All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Air Liquide again and their Black album, which was released in '95 and the same year that Red came out as well. And this album was actually the Black album was actually only available through mail order back in the '90s. Right now, uh, it's different. You can go to Discogs and possibly find a copy of Black. Um, but back in the '90s, it was only available through mail order. And I know this because I have scoured the um, record stores, Media Play, and all the different CD stores back in the '90s, and trust me, it was not available. So, unless you mail ordered for it. Anyways, the Black album is more of an experimental album. It has a lot of sound effects, a lot of German broadcasting that they fooled around with. A lot of the songs on the album kind of remind me of the Orb's Little album, Pomme Fritz, which was released in '94. And this album was released in '95, so I'm not saying that they probably got an idea from the Orb, but honestly, Air Liquide has been around since 1991, about the same time. Or, well, actually, the Orb has been around since 80, 88, 89, but they didn't come out with their debut album until '91. But anyways, Air Liquide, Jammin' Unit, and Dr. Walker. Um, the first track is called Negative Saucers, and it kind of talks about the like the UFOs, the aliens coming down to Earth from another planet, and someone saying that if they wanted to hurt humankind, then they would have done it by now. So, but there is like a negative saucer that goes around, and it like mutilates cows and for uh, who knows what reason, um, for scientific reasons. But honestly, yeah. So this first track, Negative Saucers, it was recorded live. It's a live recording from the Love Parade from 1994 in Germany, and the distortion on the track is kind of, it's not well balanced. I feel like they didn't master the track. They just put it on the album without mastering it or editing it in back in the studio. The one thing that is good, it's interesting to hear them talk about the UFOs, right, and the negative saucer thing, and the pitch of the voice keeps going down, down, more down, down, down until it's like negative saucer. Anyways, at the very end, you can actually hear the crowd at Love Parade, which is kind of neat. But what the thing that the distortion at the end of the song is kind of makes it not really good, but otherwise it's a good song. The next song is Time Code Number One. It's more of like it starts off more like a hip hop song with the beats per minute. It kind of the beats per minute are honestly at the level of a hip hop song, as in slower beats. And it is interesting how they layer the patterns on the hi-hats and the different types of noises that they make throughout the song. it's a very good, uh, compared to the first track. Time Code #1 is brilliant. It's really good. Um, all right. So, by the way, we're in like triple digits, and I put on this to look good, but it's actually really hot. So, anyways, it's in July, of course. Anyways, let's move on. All right, so the next song, Araras or Araras, is I looked it up, and it said that it's a macaw, one of those beautiful colored birds with long tails and a beak. You can see them in a lot of South American countries. A lot of people have live in high-rise buildings and have these balconies, and people can put bird seed or just, you know, fruit or whatever, and place it on their balcony, and these macaws come flying in to be fed by the people, which is pretty funny. You can actually see that on the internet if you look it up. But anyways, the macaw album, or Araras, Araras, is it's a distorted like speeches, and there's a really good distorted beat that is like it kind of, they splice it in such a way that it's just beautiful. But otherwise, that's it. But it's actually a pretty interesting song. The next song is Cliffingen Fragen, which means question, a difficult question, or essentially. And but the title track is Cliffingen Fragen, and you can hear this. Once again, it's a broadcast of a German show, and you can hear a woman talking, and Air Liquide takes her voice and splices it in a way that it becomes like her actual voice becomes a beat, and they put a bass under it and start adding hi-hats and stuff, and it's kind of interesting to hear. It's another funny track, and it reminds me a whole lot about that Pommes Frites extended play that the Orb released in 1994. Especially the track we are happy to greet you, and it's it's just, you got to hear that Pommes Frites extended play from the Orb. It's really funny, and it reminds me a lot about this track. And so let's move on. All right, so the next track is Nephology, which means the study, or the study of clouds, or, you know, the atmosphere above us. And this is a remix by the Temple of Psychedelica remix. It's an acid tinged track with the TB303, and there, if you are patient enough, you can actually start hearing this really good repetitive beat that comes in, and it really has a nice groove to it. So it's a really good remix. And I believe I think there's one more remix on this album. All right, so the next track is actually the next remix off the album, and there's only 2 remixes on the album. It's called Auroral Belt, and the remix is done by Soul Slinger for Liquid Sky Music. So this track is, I would classify it as a tribal acid house beat. It has kind of more of kind of a jungle vibe, where it kind of, the beat is just very repetitive and very, very good. Um, you know, this remix is just another really good remix off the album. Um, and considering that this album was only available through mail order, it is this, you know, some of these songs are actually very good, and they could have been on the album Red. Although I don't think they had enough room probably to really want to add all the different tracks that they really wanted on Red, and they probably didn't want to release a two CD set, two CD, you know, CD1, CD2, um, like a compilation. But so instead they released Red, and then Black was available through mail order for those hardcore fans that really like Air Liquide. And I would consider myself a really I personally think Air Liquide is amazing. The increased difficulty of concentration, that album, which we're not talking about right now, but I found that album just scouring the library, and I found it in the library, and I checked it out, and it was just amazing. That's another album that I can review as well. But for in regards to this next song, it was this remix by Soul Slinger, which really is good. So let's move on to the next track here. So the next track is Masetsu Energy, which I looked up Masa, and it says it's like a billiards shot, in, you know, like when you play pool. And Su Energy is, you know, energy. So this billiards shot must be full of energy. So and likewise, the song is full of energy. It has a really big bass, just following along on the bottom, and then this really good hi-hat beat starts going along with the bass, and it's a good song. It's really energetic. So the next song, I think it's Live in New York City, number 4. All right, I was right. The next song is Live in New York City, part 4, or I think it's yeah, it says part 4. Anyways, this is the second live track that's on the album. This track is actually well recorded. You can hear it very well. It's got, once again, it's a really nice house track. I would call it hard house, but the only thing that you know, if I have to think of something negative about this song, is that you don't hear the audience in the background. This is probably recorded at a nightclub, versus Negative Saucers was recorded at Love Parade in 1994, and that location, Love Parade, was like, it's an outdoor venue, and probably 10 times more people than at the nightclub. Plus, the nightclub probably in New York City they were in a booth, and you just couldn't hear the crowd. So, but otherwise, aside from that, the song is really strong. It's really good. All right, so the next 2 tracks I'm gonna kind of group together, because really the next track is Electronic Pills, parts 1 through 3, and the track itself is only around 5 minutes long. So the track, as you can see, It has 3 parts in it, and it's only 5 minutes long, so it's just all over the place. It starts off with kind of like a drone music, and you can hear people talking, and then at the end of the 5 minutes, or near the end of the 5 minutes, you can hear this beat that starts developing, and but otherwise that's about it. So also, let's see. The next song, "They Are Watching Us," is another drone music song, which you can hear people talking, and it's kind of you just hear a lot of sound effects, and so that's essentially that wraps up both songs. All right, so the last track on the album is actually, in many ways, in my opinion, the highlight of the album itself. It's over 13 minutes long, and it's very good. It's called Time Code Number 3. Of course, the second song off the album is Time Code Number 1, but this one's 3, and it really it's kind of like they put all their forces together on this one. It just builds and builds, and just gets better and better. It's one of the best tracks, and I know that I said some other tracks were pretty good, and one of the best remixes, but this is actual song that is not a remix. It's just an original track by Air Liquide, and it's just a massive song, over 13 minutes long, and it just gets better and better as the time goes on. It's got a great bass beat, great hi-hats, and the layering of the beats is just phenomenal. It's really good. So as far as the album goes as a cohesive album, is it a cohesive album? The short answer is no. But there are some gems on this album, Black, which was released in the same year as Red in 1995. And once again, this album was only available through mail order. So it's not very well known, but you can, of course, the 90s are gone, and you can obviously find copies of this album off of Discogs. I haven't checked Amazon, but I'm pretty sure you could possibly find one. Eventually, someone will put it up, but so a lot of people that are on Amazon, they hike up the price so high that it's just unbelievable. For instance, Jeff Mill albums, the Detroit pioneer, his albums on Amazon are just ridiculously so expensive. But what are you gonna do? So anyways, Air Liquide I consider Air Liquide one of the pioneers of acid house, and of course they're from Berlin originally, from Cologne, and in Cologne, in the 90s, Cologne, Germany, was kind of a hub or a center of acid house producers, and I mean they put out stuff on LPs all the time, and it was like a little factory of acid house tracks from all these different artists within the community. Of course, Air Liquide, they kind of gravitated towards Berlin. Berlin is sort of the capital of techno music in Europe. And of course, they are one of the pioneers of techno music. if if not Acid House. Uh, with Air Liquide, they're a very interesting band in that they delve into like just very like UFOs and stuff like that, which is very intriguing and fun to follow. So the album itself, it's like I said, not very cohesive, but if you take the tracks one by individually, then they're good. But the tracks don't really flow into each other very well. It's kind of like they had extra tracks for Red, which they couldn't fit on Red, and they didn't, like I said, didn't want to release a 2 CD album, so they instead released 2 albums, same year. One was available in the stores, Red, and which is much better, I would say, than Black. But the tracks on Black, they're good. They're not all of them are good, but it's worth hearing at least once. And if you like Air Liquide, then it's a no-brainer. You should get it. And probably Discog is the best place to find it. So as far as ratings go, I would definitely give it a high, like 9.8 out of 10. Because regardless whether or not if it's a cohesive album, if the tracks go well together, I kind of look at the tracks themselves, and I feel like that rating is pretty good for this album. I feel it's justified. And your opinions might differ, and that's what I want to hear. I want to hear your comments, what you think about this album, if you heard it or if you never heard it, if you want to hear it or if you want to get it. Let me know what Air Liquide album is your favorite. Let me know about that. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. I'll be releasing another review, this time from one of the subscribers. Actually, I actually asked if they could recommend some good groups that I could review, just because I like to keep you guys involved within the reviewing decisions. And they brought up a group from Sweden, Gothenburg, Sweden, which Ace of Base is from, but they're nothing like Ace of Base. It's more of a drone ambient group. It's called let's see, something planetary systems or something like that. Anyways, but I have been listening to their album from 2017, and I'll be reviewing that next. That'll be my next review. So I can't think of the group's name. It's kind of a longer name, but anyways, the album name is called Derelict, and they essentially, the two that are within the group, feel like Derelict was the album which they felt really good about. There was before Derelict and then after Derelict. So and actually one of the musicians from the group wrote a book about the biography of them, how they started off. And so yeah, I'll be talking about them next time, and I'll see you in the next review, which I'll be releasing within a week's time, if not earlier, maybe like 3 or 4 days from now. Anyways, from this download. Anyways, see you next time. Bye-bye.